Hello, right. First of all, this is a public service announcement. I am sorry, I promised a live and I've bottled it. Mostly because I was away having fun with my family, I didn't have time to plan, but also because the thought of going before you live terrifies me. But here's the video to cover my back. Right, let's get to it. So, first things first, it's 8:30 in the morning, but because I like this format, I'm going to have a whiskey. We'll crack on. I'm only having a little bit because it's 8:30 in the morning and I've got things to do. But let's crack on. So, it's the big question. Is the TT in its prime or has it had its time? Well, I'm going to let you know, and if you watch the rest of this video, at the end, I'll tell you exactly my thoughts on that. So, here we go. I'm no expert in the TT. In fact, this is probably the first year where I've watched it all the way through. I've been watching every day this week in between my family holiday. You know, if I've been catching up in the evenings, I've caught up in the evenings. But this is the first year where I've paid full attention to it. Everyone's heard of the TT. If you've got a motorbike, you know what the TT is. But I am no expert. I'm not perceiving to be, and I don't want you thinking I am. Here's just some of my thoughts. So, the basics. Category 1, you've got the Superbike category. Now this is full Superbikes. $150,000 plus spec. The same type that are being raced around the world like in the British Superbike Championships. These are the fastest bikes for the fastest guys so that they can set the fastest times. Category 2, you've got the Superstock. Now these are 1000cc sports bikes that you can go and buy at the shop tomorrow if you want and ride them on the road. They're allowed to do minimal modifications and they take them to the track and race them around for mine and your enjoyment to win the prestigious Moto TT Superstock. Category number 3, you've got the Supersport. Now the Supersport is 600cc production bikes. Ones that you can go and buy tomorrow, same as the Superstock. But in this case, they do category number 4. You've got the Super Twin class. Now this features twin cylinder 700cc machines derived from the middleweight road going motorcycles turned into racing machine beasts by tuners and engineers with extensive performance knowledge for the challenges just set with this TT race for the mountain stage. Category number 5 is the senior TT. Now this is on the same superbikes mentioned earlier, but riders must qualify within 115% of the third fastest qualifier. The top level, this is the best guys, the best of the best on the best bikes they can have. Each class does have its own charm, but these, the senior and the superbikes, they're the daddies. They're the ones that you want to watch. They're the ones that if you watch nothing else, tune in for the races of the senior TT and the superbike TT. You will not be disappointed. And lastly, but not least, you've got category number 6, which is the Sidecar Championship. I don't know much about it. We'll talk more later. But that is the 6 categories in their basic forms of the Isle of Man TT. So, now we've covered all of the ways that you can enter into the TT, which, you know, it shocked me, but most of the drivers enter all of them. Some on different bikes, as we'll see. But there's so many, I just wanted to pick out 4 riders. Now I've got the 3 top boys, and then I've got my wild card just because I quite like him. Continue watching and you'll find out who that is as well. So, number 1 in no order, but number 1 on my list is Peter Hickman. And he's just finished top in Quali 5 for the Superbike. So, you know, he must be pretty good. He knows what he's doing. He races for Monster Energy by FHO Racing BMW Motorrad team. He holds the current lap record for the TT from last year, which is 136.358 miles per hour. He's only 27 years old, and he races in the British Superbike Championship as well for the same team. In the Superbikes, he races on a BMW M1000RR. And he also does that in the Superstock and the Senior TT. This year, he's hoping to add to his 13 previous TT wins. He's entered in the Superbike category, the Superstock category, the Supersport category, the Super Twin category, and of course the Senior category. He's covering all his options. He's making sure he's there. And if he doesn't win, he's a close second. But all of these guys, these 3, they're all in the tops. They're all entered in the various competitions. They're all fighting each other, and it is so close. It really has. I've been enjoying watching practice and qualify and learning a bit, but it's also been quite fun to watch, seeing them push these bikes to their absolute limits in a place that it's got so much motorsport heritage, certainly in the biking world. And it's crazy. It's a 37-mile track. It's not like I'm used to with cars. You know, F1, you're lucky if it's 3 miles and it's go as fast as you can. This is going as fast as you can, but you've got 37 miles in which to do it on roads that, you know, an hour prior there's been a road traffic accident or a bus driving down the same road. It is mad. So, that is Peter Hickman done. Next one, again in no particular order, is Dean Harrison. Now, he races for Honda Racing UK. His fastest lap was 134.9, and that was on a Kawasaki Z10R when he raced for Silcone Engineering Kawasaki under the DAO race name. He's 35 years old, same as me, it's good age, and he races in the British Superbike Championship just as the others do for Honda Racing UK. Now, at the TT, he races on a Superstock and a Superbike Honda CBR 1000 RR. Can't forget that last R. And he also races on a Superbike CBR 600 RR. He races in the Superbike TT, the Superstock TT, the Supersport TT, and the Senior TT, obviously. And there's not much more that I can say about him, but we will move on. So, no TT can be spoken about without the mention of this guy's name. No, I'm not on about Guy Martin. He obviously isn't racing anymore, but Michael Dunlop. Now, he's trying to equal or even surpass his awesome Uncle Joey's record. God rest his soul. It amazes me that Michael still races, given that he's had the history he has with motorsport. You know, his uncle died on a motorbike racing. His brother died on a motorbike racing. His dad died on a motorbike racing. But yet still Michael comes up and he turns out and he becomes the fastest he can. I wish him all the best, and I hope this year he does smash that record. And I hope he lets some other people win too. So, who does he race for? Well, he races for Hawk Racing on the Honda. And that's in the Superbike, the Superstock and the Senior. But he also races for his own team, MD Racing, on the Super Twin and the Supersport. His fastest lap is 135.531. So you see, it's minimal. They're all so close, but that's crazy speeds. That's the average speed over 37 miles. That is mad. He also is 35 years old. Like I said, if I was slightly skinnier, had more of a slim build, I would probably be doing it as well. But there we go. He's 35 and he's known for saying that he just wants to concentrate on the road races and that it's in his blood. How can he not? So he races on in the Superbike stock and the senior, a Honda CBR 1000 RR, don't forget the R, Fireblade. But in the Supersport, this is where it changes. Because he's under his own race team, he races on a Yamaha YZF R6. And then in the Super Twin, he races on a Patton S1R. Don't know much about that. Go and have a look it up. I'm not going to start giving you details that I don't know if they're right or wrong. Take a break. And obviously, Michael Dunlop, he's racing in the Superbike TT, the Superstock TT, the Supersport TT, the Super Twin TT, and of course, the prestigious Senior TT. Now, on to my favourite. As I said, I'd come back to him. This man, you got to love him for his hair. I mean, I haven't got any hair, but if I had hair, this is how I would look. You can't miss him. His name's Davey Todd. The man's a legend. From his haircut to his personality on camera. He makes me laugh and he just doesn't care. It's brilliant. I love it. I love him. And he's what makes the sport great, in my words. So he races for Milwaukee BMW Motorrad in the Superbike and the Senior. He races for Power Toolmate in the Supersport. And then in the Super Twin, he races for Defabet Racing. His fastest lap is 133.942. And okay, it's slightly slower than the other two's overall fastest laps, but this guy is not to be messed with. He is up and coming. He is doing wonders on the track. He was at the Northwest 200. He got seriously injured and then he's back at the TT racing again. So we'll see how he does. He's 28 years old, so he's a spring chicken. He's loving life. He also is racing in the British Superbike Championships for Milwaukee BMW Motorrad. Like I said, he's racing on the BMW M1000 RR in Superbike, Superstock and Senior. He's on a Ducati Panigale V2 in the Supersport. And then he's on a Kawasaki Z650 in the Super Twin. So again, he's covering all options so that he knows he's got his best chances of getting his win. But, you know, maybe this year's not his year for the win, but I can certainly see him getting a couple of podiums. Like I say, check him out, Davey Todd. I love the bloke, I really do. I think he's awesome. Now, I can't go on anymore without addressing the elephant in the room. I haven't spoken about the Sidecar Championships. Now, I cannot confess to know anything about this because I know of it from Dakar Rally, but I don't really know anything to do with it. But what I do know from the week I've seen is you need to go and watch the Crow Brothers because my gosh, those two are mental. Well, like I said, everybody who does this is mental. They're tapped. They have to be because when you see what they've got to do, when that bloke on the side, he's not sat all comfy in his sidecar. He's diving about. He's making sure it balances. He's darting to the left, then he's darting to the right. And if he gets it wrong, you'll see, and it just goes up. How it doesn't always flip, I don't know, but I'm sure it does more often than not. These guys are mental, but it is so much fun to watch. So check them out, the Crow brothers. Their fastest their fastest lap record, bearing in mind it's in a sidecar, it's not an all-out superbike, is 118.814. That's mental. He's not even attached to the bike. He is diving about on the side of that thing. And they're going an average of 118 miles per hour. That's Ryan Crow, 28, and Callum Crow, who's 25. I don't know much else about the Sidecar Championship, but I thought I'd better mention it. And if you know any more, then please let me know in the comments, because, you know, it's something I quite like the looks of. It's not massively known about, and I'd like to know more. So, you know, please let me know. And now, as I said, I would answer that question that I asked at the start, that I put in the thumbnail, of, is the TT in its prime, or has the TT had its time? Heck yeah, it's in its prime. Don't miss out. Get it on the TV now. It's getting bigger and bigger, year on year. Motorsport in general is growing. You know, as I've told you before, the F1 is getting bigger every single year because of the management that's in charge of it. MotoGP, the same management is now taking over MotoGP from F1, so we'll see what happens there. But again, MotoGP is growing year on year, and I can only see that the TT is going to do the same. And in fact, I think it will surpass them all, purely because it's 2 weeks in a year. You get to watch it all condensed down. It's there's so much variety that you can't really get bored. So 100% it's in its prime, and it's only going to grow more as time goes on. Now, just like the F1, I believe Brad Pitt is getting his hands on it and he's making a movie about it. I don't have any other information. I don't even know what it's called. I've just heard that there is a movie being made about the Isle of Man TT. Now, if that comes to surpass, then that's going to grow it even more. Because, wow, I could probably convince my wife to go and watch a movie. I can't convince her to sit down and watch the TT with me, but that's another story. So, it's great to see. And although this is my first year watching it all the way through, I don't think I'll ever miss it again. In fact, I'd love to go. So if you or anybody out there needs motorbikes transporting for the TT 2025, then please check me out at Zion Automotive Logistics. I will happily take your motorbikes out there, and I will happily stay and help out if you need me to. Don't forget, like this video if you did. If you didn't, just leave. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. I move motorbikes all over the country, so I've always got a different bike on the back, a different thing to say about them. I regularly do small videos on the MotoGP, and I'm here to stay. So please like, subscribe, hit that bell if you want to know when a video's coming. Check me out. I will do a live, I just don't know when. Thanks for watching.